Good to go.
Shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom.
Shock Yehuda from YAH'S Assembly. Let's get into it. Hey, Bam. I mean, not Bam, Joe.
man.
Joe, can you lead us in prayer?
Did it again.
Oh, man.
Hallelujah. Thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for waking us up this morning to enjoy another day. And Abiyah, I just ask for you to give us the strength to continue to serve you, Abiyah. And I ask for the sermon as we get into this word, understanding as we get into this word, Abiyah, so we can be able to do your will. In your name I pray. Yah, shalom.
Shalom.
So y'all know we've been going over a sound mind. So the one thing, okay, so the title today is Sound Mind 13, Hezekiah's Faith, Marpe, the branches of healing. So what's the one question I'm asking y'all every time?
What is
Sound mind?
mind?
So what are your answers?
Sound mind. So from what I've learned so far, self-discipline.
Okay, what was that word? The Greek one.
I don't remember which word it falls on. Which word,
Sophronismos, it's on the screen.
but maybe was it Marpe that was healing?
Right,
Or-
right.
yeah.
But we just focus on the first one you said. You said
Self-discipline.
sophronismos.
Okay.
Self-discipline, self-control. This one we're going to talk about today too.
Okay.
Sophronismos, right? And then the other one was what? We had tamim. What did tamim mean? Tamim.
I have it written down.
It means complete, wholesome sound, having integrity without fault, wholesome, unimpaired, innocent, complete or entirety in accord with truth, right? And then of course lib is just your inner man. And then what was the last one? You had just said it. Marpe. What does it mean?
It's the healing, cure.
It's the what?
The cure, healing,
Cure.
help.
The cure. Let's get it. It didn't start recording. Okay, I gotta do it all over again. Oh.
You gotta do all of them.
Yeah, it didn't start recording. I'm just having computer issues today. Try this again.
Alright, I'm still rolling.
That's
Good
so
job,
weird.
Devin.
Commercial break.
It's the, I don't know what's going on with this
Commercial break.
thing.
Brought to you by.
Brought to you by Arby's. No pork.
None at all. At all.
Funny, Devin. What is wrong with the screen? Why is it like that?
I don't know what's going on.
It's broke.
So we're gonna have to do this.
Oh, because it's projected on.
Oh, so that's not, this won't even work without it. You can't even record without it. Okay. I'm gonna have to do it that way then. Technical difficulties all day today, but we're gonna make it work. Okay.
All the cameras doing is just rolling.
Okay. So I'm gonna pray this time. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We ask for forgiveness of our sins and for the sins of our ancestors. We ask for you to give us the understanding. That way we can be better vessels for you and better beacons of your light, Father. We ask for you to create in us clean and contrite hearts, minds, and spirits, Father. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us, Father. And lead us not unto temptation, Father. And deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So, this is a Sound Mind, Part 13, Hezekiah's Faith. Apologize, been having technical difficulties all day. The subtitle, again, this is Hezekiah's Faith. The subtitle is Marpe, the branches of healing. Okay. So we just went over what is the sound mind. The first word is sophronismos. It means self-discipline, self-control. Right? What was the next one? It was Tamim. Tamim.
I don't know what I wrote this down.
And what does tamim mean? Completeness, wholesome, sound, with integrity, innocent, can mean healthful. It can mean healthful. And then leb is just your inner man. Okay. And the last one was marpe. What does marpe mean?
Healing, cure, and health.
Right. Your healing, your cure, your health, your remedy. Sound, pure, wholesome. Right? And then ball, again, is your inner man. So last Shabbat we talked about Hezekiah. We're going back to Hezekiah again. So we're going to go to Isaiah 38.
Oh, wow. Pink.
Mhm.
We're already at Isaiah 37.
All right. Isaiah 38. And we're going to start at verse 1. It says, "In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. And Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith Yahuwah, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live." So what did the Son of Man of that day just say to the king Hezekiah?
Put your house in order or you shall die.
Or?
Or you're gonna,
Does this say or?
it says, for thou shalt die and not live.
So
He didn't say or.
he said for. So he's told him you're going to die.
Right.
Now, we've been focusing on the sound mind. We know that a sound mind means healing through marpe.
Mm-hmm.
And through tamim can also mean healthful. So in this situation or in this circumstance, he has two options. What are his two options? Just your opinion. What do you think his two
You
options
either
are?
gonna set your house in order or you're gonna die.
Get your mind right, God.
Right. So now remember, Isaiah says, "Thus saith Yahuwah." So this is the word coming from Yahuwah that he's going to die. Now let's see if Hezekiah believes that report or if he has to do something. Okay. Let's go to verse 2. "Then Hezekiah turned his face toward the wall and prayed unto Yahuwah." He turned into the wall. It's a little strange. We're going to get into what that actually means later. Not yet. We're going to get into what that actually means. Right?
Okay.
Verse 3. "And remember," and said, okay, this I'm praying to Yahuwah, and said, "Remember now, O Yahuwah, I beseech thee, have I walked before thee in truth? How I have walked before thee in truth, and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight." And Hezekiah wept sore. So he's using Za'ak, he's crying out to the Most High, right? He's using his pay action, right? He's crying out to the Most High because the Most High gave Isaiah a word that he's going to die. Get your affairs in order, set up one of your sons as the next king, you over with, you dead, right? In these circumstances. Now, it doesn't really give us a time frame when this happens, but verse 4 says, "Then came the word of Yahuwah to Isaiah, saying," so after he's given this prayer, to the Most High, we don't know how many times he had to give it, what else he had to do, but after he says this, the word of Yahuwah comes to him. Okay? So, really quickly, we're going to go to 2 Kings 20, and we're going to read verses 2 through 5, because we're going to hear what the word of Yahuwah was. It's going to be on the screen. And June, when you see it, go right ahead.
Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto Yahuwah, saying,
Hold on. So, he turned his face to the wall. Do you have your app open?
You haven't got there yet.
Okay. 2 Kings 20, verse 2.
2 Kings 20,
Mhm.
verse 2. And the wall.
Right. Now, if you look at it, it's going to tell you it's not just a wall. One of the definitions says it's the altar. So he was turning towards the altar. He was already in Jerusalem, so he was turning towards the most holy place, even in Jerusalem.
It says wall of house or chamber, the sides of the altar.
The altar. So he was turning to Yahuwah with his whole heart, right? Now keep going. Because he knows the law of prayer, because he's in captivity. He got a death sentence. He's going to die in his own mind, in his own body. So he's in captivity. So he's using the law of prayer, right? Okay, keep going.
I beseech thee, O Yahuwah, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court,
So before he could even leave fully,
that the word of Yahuwah came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of David, thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. And on the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of Yahuwah.
so Yahuwah just changed his mind. Yahuwah just told him he was going to die.
Told him he was going to die.
But he used his words, his mouth, his pay action, his faith, the law of prayer to the Most High, and then the Most High just gave him a good report. He said that he's going to heal him because he's heard his prayers and seen his tears, right?
Mm.
That's the one thing we're still not doing. A lot of people that are dealing with certain things, they're not really calling out to the
Not
Most High.
running to him first.
That was the first thing he did. He heard the report, and that was the first thing he did.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? That was the first thing he did. Like, well, I know you saying that, but let me turn towards the Most High, because I know his eyes is always at his altar. Let me get before his face and give him my takina, my prayer for favor, right? That's the first thing that he did. And then you see the Most High said that he's going to heal him, right? Bong, boom, bam.
Thank you, man.
Right? So what saved him?
It's paid.
Hmm?
It's faith.
His actions, his faith.
His faith, right?
Yeah.
You know, we was going over pay action, faith in action, all that stuff. We'll get back to that eventually. So that takes us back to Hebrews 11, verses 1 and verse 6. Jessica, if you don't mind.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
Because Hezekiah had faith that he could still live, he cried out to the Most High. And the Most High healed him, right? Supernaturally healed. He said he's going to get up on the third day, right? Healed him. Keep going. Mark 9:23.
Yahushua said unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth.
Do you think that he had to have belief that the Most High could do it? Because Isaiah was the prophet. He was the son of man of that time frame. And he told him, Thus said Yahuwah, man, hey, you dead, man, it's over with. You know, you can cancel Christmas on it. It's over with, you know. All right, keep going. Matthew 17, verse 20.
And Yahushua said unto them, Because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto the mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. That's little. The little mustard seed we plant.
Yeah. Very little. And the Most High said that he would heal him. Because he was humble enough to cry. To call out.
He beseeched him first.
Right.
He didn't go to no soothsayer, no sorcerer, no witch, no doctor. He went to the Most High first.
To the Most High first. To the Most High first, right? Okay. Let's go back to Isaiah 38, right? And we're going to pick up on verse 5. And it reads, Go and say to Hezekiah, this is Isaiah again, the Most High speaking to Isaiah, Thus saith Yahuwah, the Elohim of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will add unto thy days 15 years. So not only did he heal him, he added 15 years to his life. So 15 represents healing or a rebirth. We know we're supposed to come as a child to the Father, and we get life. He got life. You know, we know that he wasn't in adultery. You know, like when we had the lesson about from Yahusha, from Jesus to Yahusha, Skiva, adultery in the name. He didn't have it because he believed it. He didn't have to know, to physically see the Son in order to get that manifested to him, because he believed in the power
Yeah.
behind it. Go ahead.
And you said, come as a child unto
Mhm.
them. That's exactly what Hezekiah did when he received word of what those armies coming to
Yep.
kill him or take over his kingdom.
Mhm.
He stripped all his garments
Mhm.
and went up to the temple, started praying.
That's deep.
Yep. As a child, because he's a father. Your
Showed
father
up.
ain't gonna try to
I
save
mean,
his
he
child.
didn't show up completely naked. He had his undergarment
Yeah,
on,
you
but
know.
he showed up. He stripped all his clothes off and had his loincloth on. But
Wow, that's a really deep spiritual
Mhm.
thing because you're just literally saying, I don't care about these things. I need you now. Wow.
Because there's no one else that can save him.
Right.
The Most High, he had literally just told him through Isaiah that you're gonna die, man. It's over with, man. Your days with men are in this earth is over with. Like, but he didn't believe that report because he believed that Yahuwah is, and he's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him, right? We got to stop believing reports of doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, pediatricians, I don't know, heart doctors, whatever it is. We got to get back to leaning on the Most High as our creator. We got to stop listening to the media, to a president. No, I'm not going to have a beer and get a jab. I'm not going to do it.
Get a jab and get a free beer.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get a free joint to get a jab. I'm not going to do
I'm not going to
it.
go to school for free either to get a jab. I don't
No.
know what it is.
No, I'm
Hey, we get to go see that new baseball game that's coming up. You know, so, I mean,
no.
we can see it for free if we get jabbed up.
No.
And I'm not going to Six Flags
No,
for
thank
free to get the jab. I'm not going to do that because we know that through our faith in the Most High and through more pay, because that means healing.
Right.
Because he still, so just because the Most High said that, does that mean that was all that had to be done, or did he have to believe the word, the second word that came to him? He still had to believe it. He still had to do something.
And he still, yeah, right. And he still had to ask. He's open your page, even if it's just that of opening your mouth and diligently seeking him and praying that over yourself and having faith that it's going to happen. It works too. That's what, like my testimony, like, you know, people who know me, they're just like, you've been through so much. How do you get through it? How do you do this? I'm like, I refuse to let this be who I am when I know that I am a child of the Most High. So I know if I'm going through something, as they would say, I know I can get through it because he's going to heal me. He's been healing me, and I'm still going. So I was like, it's just that faith.
That mustard seed.
My grandma always told me to keep the faith, no matter what. Before I even knew the Most High, before I even had a spiritual relationship, she told me, before she passed, like, you always keep the faith. Always put God first. And that's what I did. Even when I didn't know. But it works.
Hallelujah. Okay. So again, 15 years, right? Okay, verse 6. And I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, what June was talking about, and I will defend the city. So this sickness unto death was happening around the same time where the king of Assyria and then was talking crazy about the Most High. So he wasn't even in health at that time. And he still was like, nah, I know my rock. I know my shield and my buckler. I know what the full armor of Yahuwah can do, right? And I will defend this city. And this shall be a sign unto thee from Yahuwah, that Yahuwah will do this thing that he hath spoken. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz, that was his father, 10 degrees backward. So the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down. So he made the sun literally go backwards, right? And Isaiah, if you're reading Chronicles or different accounts, Isaiah cries out to the Most High. So the Most High does this thing, because when we cry out, we activate the Most High, right? We got to cry out. We can't just be idle. You know, we got to be activating the Most High. So I'm going to ask you this question. So the Most High said that he would heal him. How? Don't read ahead either.
No, I thought you might have been over that already.
Right, I was looking back. So we haven't went over this yet then? So we haven't went over this yet?
I didn't say
To
that.
diligently seek him.
From what we know, how we're diligently seeking
Yep. Added
Prayer.
15 years to his life.
and believe that what's going to happen to him what happened to him.
Okay, okay. Let's keep going. June, go ahead. Verse 8.
Verse
9.
8.
9.
The writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, when he
Had been.
had been sick and was recovered of his sickness.
So while he was sick, up until he got delivered, he was writing, right? Okay, so let's see what he was writing.
Oh, okay, that's what, parentheses or something. But said, in the cutting of
Off.
the cutting off of my days, I shall go to the gates of the grave. I am deprived of the residue of my years.
So right now, he's in anguish, he's in pain. He's sad because he got that report from Isaiah saying that he's going to die. And he's talking about going down to the gates, in death. His life has been cut short, is what he's crying out about. He's not happy, And it's okay when we go through things to get it out. Don't just hold it in and let it fester and then just wallow, right? Okay, keep going.
Said, I shall...
I said.
Oh, no. Oh, that is I said?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I thought that was parentheses or something. I said, I shall not see Yahuwah, even Yahuwah in the land of the living. I shall behold man no more with the inhabitants of the world.
So, even with him crying out to the Most High, that fear of death was gripping a hold of him, right? So again, he has fight or flight. He's got two options. Keep going.
Mine age is departed, and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I have cut off like a weaver my life. He will cut me off with pining sickness. From day even to night wilt thou make an end of me.
So notice he said that he cut off his life like a weaver, right? And he's saying that the Most High will cut it off. Why did he cut off his life? He's talking about himself. He said, I have cut off like a weaver my life. Just marinate on that, okay? Marinate on that. So what law or laws is Hezekiah using? You don't have to answer right now, but just think about it. Because we've been talking about them.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep going, okay? Go ahead.
13.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon till morning, that as a lion, so will he break all my bones. From day even to night will thou make an end of me.
So, I mean, everything is hurting. It's not just like his head, it's everything. He's like, the Most High is just going to break everything in me, right? Okay.
Like a crane or a swallow, so did I chatter. I did mourn as a dove. Mine eyes fail with looking upward. O Yahuwah, I am oppressed. Undertake for me.
So, what does he mean by I am oppressed?
I am oppressed. Like just overwhelmed with all of this pain that he's
Right.
going through.
Right. So, in today's day, they would call it anxiety or depression.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a constant 24/7 torment that
Yeah.
he's dealing with.
Because he's seeing all this stuff that's happening to him, and he's just, take me now. That's why he wrote himself off early, right?
Right. So even with him dealing with all these things, he's still crying out to the Most High. And the Most High, for our people, we have to grumble in order for the Most High to really move. Because we were in captivity in Egypt for how many hundreds of years? And then once that cry finally got to a certain fever pitch with the Most High, with our grumbling, he finally did something, right?
He remembered us.
Exactly, he remembered his covenant with our forefathers. So he's in captivity again to the pain in his body and through his mind. Like he's literally at the gates of hell or Sheol right now in his mind. He's being oppressed. There's demonic forces trying to rule over his mind.
By his own illness.
Right, that's why it was always Paul and David's faith. Because the battle, they always say the battle's not against flesh and blood, right? But principalities and powers, right? But that battle's in the mind,
It's within.
right? It's in the mind. So that's why Paul talks about there's two laws warring in your members, right? The law of the commandments of the Most High, the law of God, and then the law of sin and death. Well, that law of sin and death is a lack of having faith, right? That's your fear. That's that torment and anguish taking hold of you because that's where you're putting your faith in, right? And because Paul even says that what is not of faith is of sin. Now remember, he just said that he cut off his own life like a weaver, right? So there were times when that fear or that lack of faith or the faith in his downfall or his death had taken hold on him. But let's see what he if he stays there, or if he finally goes and gets that other form, if he finally grabs hold of Marpe, right? Okay. And go ahead, you're on 15.
What shall I say? He hath both spoken unto me, and himself hath done it. I shall go softly all my years in the bitterness of my soul.
So he's still talking about he gonna die.
He's still talking negative.
Woe is me. Right. Woe is me. Okay.
O Yahuwah, by these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my spirit. So wilt thou recover me and make me to live?
So he made a choice to believe the report. He made that choice. And then his focus changed. Because if you keep focusing on those negative things, you're going to get those negative circumstances. Again, this is Hezekiah's faith. This is Marpe, the branches of healing. The branches of healing. Okay? So, I'm going to go, he was using the law of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to speak things that are not as though they were, right? So, Romans 4, verse 17. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed, even Elohim, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. We know, I know we know these things, but there's other people that don't believe it.
Speak it into existence.
Right, they don't believe in these things because they just talk about anything, all kinds of crazy. Okay, Proverbs 18 verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof.
And that's such a popular verse, but do you truly believe? I mean,
Do you
I believe
understand it?
Right.
Yeah, like,
It has so
Nobody
much.
knows the merit.
because like with all like get understanding, but people don't understand it. Like they just talk so reckless about anything detrimental to them, and they wonder why they just keep attracting those things. They keep manifesting
You're
those
sowing
things.
that seed into your life.
Yeah.
Like
Man.
there's so much deliverance, there's so much power in that one verse. They take it for granted. That's why I keep telling my kids, like, don't, like some of the slang they use nowadays, I'm like, don't say that. Because you're speaking that, although you think it's fun and society thinks it's fun, it's not.
I mean,
So stop saying that
Yeah.
because that is gonna manifest. So you have to be careful what you say.
because you can speak against yourself.
Yeah, and not even know that out of play, you're literally speaking death over yourself. Like, stop that.
You're spot on
Yeah,
because
it reminds me of something we went over weeks ago when those dudes was acting like priests and trying to take these demons out of people
Oh, yeah.
just in the Lord's name, and they thinking it and
Jesus
wondering why it's
to
not
Yahushua.
working. Yeah,
idolatry.
and like it's not working for them, and they're wondering why. Well, I mean, I've just seen Yahushua do this, and it worked for him. Well,
I've seen his
yeah,
disciples
yeah,
do
I've
it.
seen them do it too, and it worked for them. Like, why is it not working for us? Because you're doing something that you've just seen. You're doing it
Yeah.
with no merit, with no faith.
It's a ritual.
Yeah.
You're doing it on somebody
You're
else's face,
just saying.
somebody else's account.
You're just saying something that you heard and not knowing what it is that
Yeah.
you're saying,
Like,
or
in it-
knowing the meaning of it.
And because there was one thing that I left out on that teaching. So if you go back and you actually read the accounts, now those guys tried, Skeev and them, they tried to cast out that devil, right? But of course they didn't have the appropriate faith. They was trying to get off on somebody else's
Yeah.
faith. But there were others that actually cast out in the name of Yahushua that was not a part of the disciples.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Because
Like,
it's part of what were they doing that for? their reason for doing it was because they seen how big the disciples was getting, how big of name. They were trying to get that same type of fame, that you
Wow.
could say, for that reason. They were in it because they wanted to be, just
Exalted.
have their name known. Yeah,
Wow,
exalted.
that is really, really, really good.
Mhm.
You see, a
Right.
lot of people are like that nowadays.
Just, it depends on the reason, what you're
Wow.
doing these things for. It's like, I had a discussion with my mom, she was like, it's not good to pray for money. I said, you could pray for money, but it depends on what you're trying to use that money for. Like, if you praying for money because you wanna buy a new car so you can stunt on somebody, like, you ain't gonna get that, that's not it. But if you praying for money so you can buy a car so you can have a means for transportation for work in the wintertime, because
Yeah.
you know it's gonna be a cold winter, then you go get that.
Right.
It depends on what you're praying or how you're coming to about it.
Right.
If you're praying for a righteous thing, you'll get it. If it's unrighteous, it's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, sometimes the Most High, he'll give you that thing.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
so,
yeah.
just so he'll
Yeah.
make sure that you just lose it real quick.
Mhm.
You won't get to
Just so
enjoy
he
it.
can show you an example of how fast you'll lose it.
Right.
Yeah, because people have that covetous mind, like, oh,
Mhm.
yeah, I got to do this. I'm trying to keep up with the Kardashians or the Joneses, because the Kardashians just switched the whole term up. Now it's keeping up with Kardashians,
Yeah.
right?
Instead of keeping up with the Jones.
Right, and then they try to keep up with our people with all these fake surgeries and this and that, everything. Ain't nothing real about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I know y'all gotta go. So Matthew 12, verse 37, for by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. You know, we take it a step further. By your thoughts you shall be justified, and by your thoughts you shall be condemned. Because you can't speak it without thinking it first. Like, so we even have to, even Hezekiah had to put his mind, his thoughts into subjection. Because the emotions can overrun you. Now, due to Yaki, and even in the Bible, it tells you that in the Eastern mind, that the kidneys is where the seat of the emotions are at. So you got your mind, you got your brain, and you got kidneys. So you have to find the way to dominate, to take dominion over all three.
Wow.
Because your brain, right? Your brain only does what your mind tells it to do. So like there's a separation between those. And then with the kidneys are running your emotion, you got to make sure that it's being regulated properly. Like that's why this is Marpe, the branches of healing. We're going to get into that here in a minute. So we're going to go back to Isaiah 38 so we can finish this out. Almost finish it out. It says, verse 17, Isaiah 38, verse 17, behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption, for thou hast cast all my sins behind thy back. Remember earlier, he said that he had cut off his life like a weaver. So this sickness came upon him because of his sins, right? But then he believed the second report of Isaiah, and now the Most High, he's what cast his sins behind him, right? Behind his back. Verse 18, for the grave cannot praise thee, death. Whoa!